Before we jump in for all things VAs, team build, Jesus, Becca. Hey fam, welcome to another video. I guess you're here because you're feeling pretty ready at taking your podcast to the next level, but you might be feeling a little bit overwhelmed with the production and the delivery and everything that's involved. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing tips and tricks and strategies for you on how you can streamline your production and expand your reach with the support of virtual assistants or virtual professionals. Before we jump in for all things scaling VAs, team building, systems, delegation, do subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you can get my next videos. We are covering all of that good stuff here on this channel. I've scaled one of my businesses to healthy 5-figure months with the help of virtual professionals, and this is literally what we do to help our clients and other entrepreneurs as well. We've worked with hundreds of people to build their dream team and to learn how to delegate and scale with the use of having extra hands on board. So there's a thing or two here that I have to share with you guys. So as you guys would know, podcasting is kind of the long game. It's a great way to share your message with a wide audience, and it can also be a really overwhelming and time-consuming process. From researching guests, doing outreach, to editing and doing all the techie bits and pieces, there's quite a lot that goes into the entire process of this. Now, the exciting thing is that you have discovered that there's probably a better way for you to be doing this, hence why you are watching this video. And how cool would it be if you literally just hopped on and did the interviews and had the guest speakers and you're like in your creative juices going back and forth, and then you've got a system with a team in place where you just give the raw material and then that gets all edited, the bells and whistles go on, they can even add in the captions and all of that, and it's like, cool, like that's probably saved 10-15 hours of your time for one podcast episode, and you've just been doing this wonderful interview and enjoying yourself in the delivery of it, and you've got your team helping you with the operations and getting it out, right? So let me take you through a few things that a virtual assistant can actually help you with on the podcast. So it's quite dynamic and there's a lot of variety when it comes to delegating to virtual assistants. Now, when it comes to the actual podcast, some of the specifics that you could expect to be able to delegate are things like researching your guests and even doing the outreach to these people as well. They can be going back and forth and to eventually schedule those interviews with your guests. They can transcribe the audio of your podcast. They can edit some of the episodes. They can be doing the graphics. They can be multi-purposing all of the edited content and then dispersing it across the multiple channels. They can be engaging with your audiences that might come in and comment on them, or if you're doing reels on social media that links to your podcast, they can be managing those things as well. The list goes on and on and on. Essentially, everything that you're doing in the operations part for your podcast production can likely be outsourced or delegated to a VA. The beautiful thing as well is when it comes to the hours of working with virtual professionals, they can either work on your hours or they, depending on the time schedule and where you are in the world, they might be able to work on the opposite zone. So it means that they can be interacting with potential clients or customers of yours, or if it's a requirement and easier and more efficient for them to be on your time zone, then that's something that you can always negotiate before hiring as well. So how do you find the right virtual assistant for your podcast? So first things first is you do want to be hiring someone that's got a bit of experience with this. You can go either way. You can hire someone who's a complete newbie, probably be paying a lesser hourly rate, but it's going to be time intensive with the training, okay? And there's going to be a lot of mistakes made. So just weigh up what's most suitable for you right now with where you're at. If you've got a bit more cash flow and more of a hiring allocation there for your budget, then I would be going for someone who costs a little bit more, but they've been doing this work for at least 2 or 3 years, so that you don't have to be going through and showing them all the programs and all of that. They're going to be coming equipped and ready to go. With this type of work as well, because it is the operations stuff, you do want them to be organized. If you've got someone who's a bit all over the place, it's just going to cause more chaos. So organization and great communication skills are always two very important things to look out for when you're hiring any role within your business. Now, when it comes to the logistical side of where to actually find these virtual assistants, there's lots of different platforms platforms that you can be looking at. I'm assuming this is going to be an ongoing role. If this is an ongoing role, you can go to places like onlinejobs.ph. I will leave a link for that below. So that's where you are the recruiter and the HR person yourself, and you'll be hiring directly. There are other places, and this is probably more suited for like once off or like contract-based work, is Upwork and Fiverr. They're two very popular places as well where you can find these incredible virtual assistants. Another option is to go through a company that is going to do the HR and the recruitment for you. Again, this is going to come down to your budget and your requirements. So the clients that we work with in my company are the ones that, you know, they've gone to onlinejobs.ph, they've hired, and they've maybe not had a great experience. You know, they haven't had the healthcare in place and all the other bits and pieces that keeps a team together and keeps them motivated and productive. So that's what we handle on our side within our company. And yeah, you pay a little bit extra per hour, but it ends up being worth it in the long term because you know that your staff member is really well looked after. You know, our job is to make sure that they continue showing up for you. Yeah, it can go either way. It's going to depend on, again, your budget and where you're at with those things and what you're actually really requiring. But those are a few of the options that you can look at when actually looking for that hiring process. If you want to know a little bit more about that, you can watch this video here on how to choose the right agency for you. Cool. So now once you've gone through that hiring process, whether you're doing that directly, whether you're going through a company that's doing all the heavy lifting of the recruitment for you, okay, let's say you've got your candidate, you've got your team member now, and the next stage is going to be, it's sort of like the standard onboarding process, and you're really going to be setting the expectations and the boundaries and being really clear with the communication on what's expected here. Okay, it's really important to be clear on this in the beginning so that a month or 2 months down the track, things aren't going all skew with. So if you get these things clear from the beginning with super gnarly communication, then you're really going to be setting yourself up for success in the long run. So throughout this onboarding call, when you are creating those clear expectations and getting on the same page, it's really important that you cover things like the schedule that they're going to be working. Is it fixed hours where they have to be on your time zone, or is it going to be flexible hours, or is it going to be night duty? Those things are really important. Do you want daily reports? Do you want a morning and a nighttime one? Or do you just want a weekly report? How often are you guys going to be meeting? Are you going to be having twice weekly meetings? Is it daily meetings? Okay, it really depends on you. We have clients that will do daily meetings throughout the onboarding stage initially, and then that might go down to a couple of meetings a week, and then it might be 1 meeting a week. So it really depends on you and the requirements of this job role as well. So that's kind of covering the housekeeping stuff. Also, you're going to be looking at the tools and the softwares. Are you using time trackers, productivity trackers, those types of things? I love to use Hubstaff with my team. It's amazing. I will leave a link below for that. I highly recommend it. Out of all the ones that I've used, this is the most efficient and effective by far. And the other thing you want to really be getting clear on is what are the specifics of the tasks that you want them to do. Okay, like what are you actually delegating? Do you have like a playbook or something, or a project management system like Asana or Trello or Notion or ClickUp that you're using so that you can send them somewhere and there's like this list of tasks of what's actually required from them? And if you don't have that, that's okay as well. You might just do this throughout, you know, one of your meetings and start to record things. A really great way to start delegating is to, what I do is when I'm looking at another role or if I'm doing something that's repetitive, is I'm like, cool, I can foresee that I'm going to want to delegate this pretty soon. And so what I would do is I would take a screencast, okay? Loom or Screencastify work quite well. I think Mac has an inbuilt one, PC might as well. And what you do is you're literally just creating a screencast of what you're doing and making it kind of like a tutorial, right? So if you want to show your VA exactly how it is that you edit the podcast, then you edit the podcast and show them what you're looking for. Tell them, I want you to keep an eye out for these hooks. A hook will evoke an emotion and do this and do that. And I want you to be aware. So you're just giving really, really clear instruction on this screencast video, okay? And that's kind of like an SOP, standard operating procedure. You can give them this video and say, watch this, then we can have a meeting about it, or come to me with any queries or questions that you have before you do the delegated task, so that we can clear that up and then hand it over to them. And expect as well that there's probably going to be some mistakes and some refining and tweaking to do. It's not going to be perfect the first time. It's very rare that it will be, and this is okay. So don't expect it to come back absolutely 100% how you would have done it and expect it to be. Just be very patient and compassionate with that. It's like when you start your, think back to when you're a teenager and you're starting your first job, you don't get it perfect in the first few weeks. Yeah, allow for an adjustment period. So getting really clear on the daily cadence and what's to be expected, and you might even have quarterly epics or goals that you want to take them through as well, so that they're aware of that. And if you've got any KPIs, key performance indicators, certain KPIs that need to be met or deadlines, and this is something that's really important to cover in the beginning as well with your VA that's going to help you with your podcasting production. So in conclusion, fam, hiring a VA to help you out with your podcast production can save tons of time for you, and the aim of the game here is to keep you in your creative genius zone, okay? Your high level creative genius, where you can be doing the things that you love and that get you turned on and passionate, right? As opposed to doing the day-to-day repetitive things that aren't within your genius zone and kind of dry you up, okay? You want those creative juices to keep flowing. So when it comes to finding the right virtual assistant, this can really take your podcast production to the next level when done right and following the tips and tricks and strategies that I've shared here. Thanks again for watching, fam. And look, if this has been helpful, like and subscribe really helps me. If you do want to show some appreciation, feel free to leave a comment as well. I do check these every couple of days, so I'd love to have some banter there in the comments. And in the meantime, I've made this video here on a few red flags to watch out for when hiring VAs as well, which I think you'll probably get some value out of. So thanks again for watching. I appreciate your time, and I will see you on the next one.